on any of this issue. Now, if you are watching me from Nigeria, I do not know what level of information you have about what is going on inside Nigeria. And I hope you do know more. There is something I wanted to know, please, and that is the issue of terrorism in Nigeria has been globally established. Not just that it's globally, sort of like globally acknowledged. Right now, globally, it is being discussed the collusion of your own government in these killings in Nigeria. The battle that Tifnumbu and his own illegitimate rogues have been trying to suppress, gaslight people and all that. In case if you don't know, let me repeat that. The killings going on in Nigeria is globally being discussed right now. And your government is indicted, Tifnumbu's regime is indicted as the sponsor of the terrorism, of the killings. And how? Because they enabled it. The whole world knows that Tifnumbu's regime, APC, Egbekegbe, they deliberately enabled these killings. Something that would be so ridiculous to you, like how could they do that? No, that's not possible. It is very much possible. Currently, Nigeria's security structure has collapsed. If anyone is telling you anything different, right, it is just the same way to advise you to look away. Look the other way until you become the victim. We all watched live stream of an attack on the CAC church in Eruku town in Kwara State yesterday, live when the terrorists came. Now, what you probably not aware of is that as much as the sides of these vulnerable people, those elderly women, those children screaming, running, do you know that they eventually killed 3 people in that church yesterday, and they kidnapped 20 of those worshippers you saw in that video yesterday? While Tifnumbu and his gang were already planning to go to South Africa to go and discuss economic security about Nigeria. Why? Meanwhile, Tifnumbu won't even discuss about your situation with you. He won't address you, like genuinely address you without all those fake speeches that they write for him, right? He won't. But he's willing to go. When Donald Trump tweeted about these killings, right? They were willing to go to America to go and convince Americans that they are doing their best, they are this, they are that, there's no killings. They are willing and ready, which is what they are doing. They are willing and ready to convince outsiders, okay, that, oh yeah, there is no killing, but to you, their own citizens, they don't owe you anything. So this is where we are going to start this afternoon. Like I said, my line is opened. You can phone in from anywhere. That's what we do, right? You can. So right now, a lot of people are now beginning to feel like this contraption is not working. You remember when I did say that a lot of people who are shouting one Nigeria, one Nigeria, one Nigeria 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even as recent as 2 years ago, are beginning to change their stand. So if you are still one of those who believe that, Nigeria is just going through a phase, it's going to be something, whatever you have in your head, right? You too, you are going to arrive at that conclusion very soon. It is an open secret that this contraption was put together not with our consent, not with the consent of our own forebearers. When this contraption got after its independence, right, and that supposed regional system got truncated, and this current, hegemony was kind of like installed, this fraudulent system was put in place. Since that time, Nigeria, it's been obvious to those who care to pay attention that our differences, they said that they call our differences diversity. Or something, your differences is your diversity. You have a bigger country. You have a sizable number of Christians, Muslims, and others coexisting, over 600 different tribes and ethnic nationalities, all conjoined together without their consent. Let's just try and make it work. but it's not working. So when we proposed then that, listen, there are some of us who believe that for so many things, right? This your fake diversity was kind of like an invention of the British as well as their Western allies who kind of agreed to put this contraption together as you have it, especially the British. So diversity, differences, it can coexist and all that nonsense, right? That they put together, put in your head, only happened in Africa. Do you understand me now? Even Europe here that we are, they won't merge the Germans, the Czechs, the British, the French. You know what? They won't merge them together and say they should form one country. No, they won't. But they did that for us in that place without our consent. And every now and then, every opportunity we have, I mean, like historically, every opportunity we have, we kill ourselves. Any simple chance until the Fulani terrorists, Islamic terrorists of Boko Haram, ISWAP, decided that, you know what, maybe they should just take over the country and turn it to Islamic Republic of God knows what. So that battle now, especially that of the Fulani terrorists, who have now waged war just on everybody, Hausa, Kanuri, Igbo, Yoruba, Ijo, the Middle Belters, the TV, the Beroms, and all these people, they've waged war on the rest of Nigeria. And yet, the criminal politicians in Nigeria value them more. They're gaslighting Nigerians. They're suppressing the news of Nigerians being killed and displaced. All of this in a contraption. We see they tell all of us, say, we don't get choice. We should just try and make it work. How? As how now? So those who believe in this, they are one fake Nigeria. They are beginning to say, maybe we should just let Arewa have their own Islamic Arewa Republic. Maybe they should just let the Middle Beltans have their own Christian Republic, whatever they want to call it. Let the Igbos have their own Biafra Republic. Let the Yorubas go on and have their own Yoruba Nation or Oduduwa Republic or any name they want to call themselves. So this point, right, let people now identify based on their similarities, language, culture, tradition, and on and on and on like that. Everything you have in similarity with people, right, you can form your nation. And we've already had that before now. But they said if Nigeria breaks, the northern Nigeria will suffer more. The same politicians who have ruled Nigeria for more than 50 years from northern Nigeria are telling us that the reason that they cannot just break up Nigeria right now is because the northern Nigeria will suffer. How now? You want to force Islamic ideology, this extremist ideology on the rest of us, and if we fail to agree, you are willing to kill us. You're already doing it. You are mobilizing the whole country to defend terrorists when you heard that, America was coming for them. So why can't we just have a conversation around, do we still want to be the same country? Because I don't know how many of you who probably should remember this now. Maybe everybody should, right? That as far back as 1950s, they've had what they call the Niger Delta Republic Liberation Army, something like that. So Niger Delta, what to have the Niger Delta you have today, right? Isaac, is it called Isaac Adakaboro or something, or Isaac Boro Adakaboro? Remember that story? Yeah, he was killed. He was found guilty of secession, and they killed him. So people they've always knew that we do not have anything in common. Nigeria is a business entity put together by the British for their own economic interest. How hard is that? What is wrong, even if you still want to keep Nigeria, the same Nigeria, right? What is wrong if all of us have to kind of like sit now and decide that, okay, if we want to keep this contraption, it has to be on this, based on these conditions, that condition, that condition. You know what I mean? Where everybody's interest is indeed covered and protected. Why not? They are sponsoring Islamic jihadists using the same resources of Nigeria to fund them and kill Nigerians. And at the same time, they are telling you, no, it's not that bad. Oh, it's not Christian Muslim, it's not Christian genocide. But we are watching, we are seeing innocent people, vulnerable people being slaughtered, traumatized, kidnapped, and on like that. Why criminal politicians, as you can see every day, are more interested in their next election, 2027. So if the Tinubu come win 2027, eh, what is that time? What is it going to change then that it can't change now? Why, I keep asking this one, why is it so hard for Tinubu to declare state of emergency in these areas that the terrorists have actually like occupied? Right now, it can't be like say after Donald Trump's tweet, these terrorists, they just activated all their cells, attacks here and there. And you know something, the moment it has gotten to Kwara South, you know that Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, and Oyo, and Ogun State, it's just going to be a matter of like time before you begin to hear the similar story, them walking into the church. They did that in Ondo State. They told us that drug deal gone bad. Drug deal gone bad. Terrorists entered church. They killed over 80 people, including children. But the APC in Nigeria managed to bury it and make it look like, oh yeah, it's just some drug deal in South Africa gone wrong. Like what? You get what I mean? Now, so the moment they are already in this Kwara, that some of you are not, some of you are Kwarans in Lagos, APC Lagos, claiming Lagos. Well, you know that every now and then you have to go back and do your what do you call it, your Sala back in Kwara, Ilorin, and all these places, right? Now they are close to home. That Lagos won't be easier for you very soon. And if you think, here is another one. If you actually think that the terrorists are going to be riding their bikes from Sokoto to Lagos, you have no idea that they are already within you. They are already among you. All it's going to take is just to activate them, and boom, there you go. And when that time comes that you can no longer go to your church in Lagos, you can no longer go to your mosque in Lagos, you can no longer go to your weekend Owambe in Lagos without you appearing like a prisoner with over 20 bodyguards with guns guiding you. That moment, maybe that's when all of you will realize that whatever APC is selling to you, right? They are selling you a Kool-Aid, preparing you for the slaughter, like like cow that is being led to the slaughter. And it, doesn't know. That's exactly what they are doing to you. So on Maiyegun's Diary Political this afternoon, we're going to review more on the state of, Nigeria, as well as the ongoing killings in Nigeria that the criminal government of Nigeria are doing their best to downplay. But it seems that they can no longer actually cover it up anymore. The series of events that will happen in the coming days and weeks and on, would determine if Tinubu would even like contest for 2027, even if you are going to have 2027 elections in Nigeria. Somebody released a video and said, if Tinubu failed to act now, whatever the northern Nigeria or the northern elite in Nigeria, whatever they have promised him or whatever he's promised them, at the end of the day, his name is going to be on everybody's lips. Yeah, Tinubu, right? And in that regard, right, the entire house will collapse on him. And this time it will be worse than what happened to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. Because as it is right now, it is pretty much obvious, right? That the terrorists in Nigeria, from the places they have already kind of like, attacked people, right? It is obvious right now that the Nigerian military have been overwhelmed. And if they think they are not, it's not going to be by mouth. They would have to like prove that, right? So, and the terrorists are very much aware that nobody is looking for them. Forget about what they are showing in the media. I said the global, the global South are already discussing this in Nigeria. And it's not just Nigeria. I think it's just mostly about the escalating, terrorism in the Sahel generally. Mali, Chad, Niger, Burkina Faso, and of course, Nigeria. Watch this conversation.
I resume my function as president of the council. I now give the floor to the representative of the United States.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for chairing this important meeting. Thank you to our briefers, Secretary General Guterres, and ECOWAS Commission President Dr. Touré. Colleagues, as we speak, Al-Qaeda affiliated terrorists in the Sahel have paralyzed Mali with a fuel blockade. Colleagues, the situation is dire there. We see Al-Qaeda aiming to take over the entire country. The United States acknowledges the counterterrorism efforts of the Malian armed forces against these and other terrorist organizations such as ISIS, Sahel, but the situation is worsening quickly. We remained deeply concerned about the incidents of kidnapping, the incidents of hostage taking across the Sahel as a means to finance these terrorist activities. Unfortunately, since the veto of the UN sanctions regime in 2023, it has been deeply disappointing to see Mali's security situation continue to deteriorate. That decision removed critical tools from the international community that it relied on to promote accountability and to promote stability. And the result has been an uptick, a massive surge in violence, has been a shrinking space for dialogue and growing risk for civilians across the country and across the region. The terrorist threats are not only intensifying, they are spreading, they are shifting southward, as evidenced by the terrorist attacks we've seen in Benin and Togo. But particularly, the United States is concerned and outraged by the ongoing slaughter of thousands of Christians in Nigeria by various ethnic militias in the Middle Belt, as well as terrorists like Boko Haram and ISIS West Africa in the north. It is tragic and it is unacceptable. Churches are burning, villages are being razed, thousands are killed, clergy murdered simply for wearing a cross, for being a Christian, for daring to say they worship Jesus as Christ. Just yesterday, 25 little girls were kidnapped from their school, and one school official murdered trying to protect them, from MAGA Comprehensive Girls Secondary School in Kebbi State. Colleagues, this is happening. It's undeniable, and it's unacceptable. The United States condemns these attacks in the strongest terms, and it demands accountability. And as President Trump has made clear, we will not stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria. The government of Nigeria must take immediate steps and do more to increase security, respond to early warnings, end impunity, and address the drivers of violence. And colleagues, we need to see African leadership on these matters, and we need to see a coordinated response among all countries in the region. The situation is critical. The United States will continue to work with regional partners to counter these common threats. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the representative of the United States.
So like I said, the world is discussing the killings in Nigeria, no matter what the politicians are probably telling themselves or telling you, or maybe what you want to tell yourself. Because there are some of you who love to live in denial by pointing fingers at everyone, like some of you mofos are already doing, asking, where are the state governors? People should go and meet their state governors. And people should go and call their local government chairmen. You Olori Buruku APC, Egbekegbe supporters. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces in Nigeria is Tinubu. The buck stops on his table. And that is why those who are advocating for a regional system continue in their own argument that a regional system with a new constitution that covers people, even within the same contraption like Nigeria, could include self-defense For some of these regions,